right. Hopefully y'all can hear this. Just doing an update on some more stuff that I learned about this night vision unit. There's a few things that since the last time I did a video, I found out about it. First thing that I found out is that I can, in fact, cut the backlight off. That was a big one. So let's see. I'll show what I'm talking about. So as you see, when I had the manual, it didn't say anything about cut backlight. That was read to this thing unless I missed something. And that might be the case. Maybe I missed it somewhere, but I read through it and it didn't say anywhere about how I could cut the backlight off. And that's a big drawback if you're trying to stay a little stealthy in the woods. Like I said before in the last video, the light does come on. So let's see if I put that on. If I can show you. It may not show up. Yeah, let's see here. Let me make sure that it's actually on. Nope, it's not on. So let's hit it again. Okay, perfect. That's first IR mode. But I don't see it lit up. Let's try it again. Okay, yeah, that's IR mode number 1. See that? So you will see that. However, I figured out how to cut the backlight off. If you just simply hold the M button, which is the menu, just hold it like this, it cuts off. So the unit is still powered, but you don't have the backlight on now. That way, you can kind of stay stealthy with this. But bear in mind, you're gonna have this little light. Now it's not this bright. It's the camera is picking this up. It isn't as bright as yours, but it is kind of noticeable. I don't know how far away you can notice it, but just bear in mind with all IR illuminators, if somebody has night vision, they can be seen, and this one can be seen a little bit through the naked eye. Another thing I'm going to tell you about this that I discovered, I doubt it's waterproof. If you look at it, they say it's waterproof, but I doubt it. As you can see, these little holes here where the I forget what you call this. It's supposed to be the little flap that goes underneath here, kind of like a dust cover to keep water out of the unit. But I'm going to tell you something that you need to be careful with. There's a little gap in between here. And so when I was taking some video out so I could edit it on my computer, because there's a micro SD card that goes in here. And I didn't realize that this little gap is here in this corner. So when I put the micro SD card in, it just simply fell right in. So it's in here. You can hear it rattling around. I don't know if it's worth the trouble of me taking it apart and getting it out or just leaving it alone. It probably won't hurt anything because it's just plastic. It is some conductor in there. Maybe it may hit up against something, but it probably will be all right. But it's 4 holes here. And the 4 holes is what you would use to disassemble this I was looking at it, I didn't realize it, but they actually have it. Let's see here. They actually have it screwed kind of like the way the PVS sevens assemble, but normally they're all different on the Chinese ones. The American ones are different, but the Chinese clones, a lot of times there'll be like there's screws here in the back. It's like 4 or 5 screws on top. So if you're trying to take this thing apart, you can, and maybe you can play around with the lens that way. You might be able to get a little bit of better performance out of the lens. The problem I have with it is that the zoom part is too good. It zooms in like whenever I'm looking through it. I can walk around and look around in complete darkness. The issue that I have is that I don't want it zoomed in as far as it is, if that makes sense. Let me cut it off. I don't want to run down my battery. Where is the off button? You're right here. So that is something that I noticed. So if you pick one of these things up, you want to make sure you don't accidentally slide your card in the wrong way and it gets trapped in here. But you can take this apart. It looks like it doesn't come apart, but it does. All you have to do is just undo these screws, like it's a screw here, screw here, screw here, and screw there. And it just comes apart like a PVS7. Because this company that builds these, I looked on their website, but I don't see them now. They did have some PVS sevens that were analog. They didn't have these little buttons on them, of course, but they did have these oversized illuminators. Because this one's a flashlight, this one's IR. Normally the PVS sevens are a little smaller. Okay, what is this? This is this new night vision unit I've found on AliExpress, and I started playing around with it. It's called the, what is this thing here? So you can see it. It's the Z9157. Yeah, it's digital. So that's what it is. It is a digital camera. So it's, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to have to look at these comments so I can kind of, because I have to take them off so that my audio don't record through these meta, and sometimes it's bad. Okay, he's not happy with the zoom either. Yeah, I'm wondering if you take the glasses off. No, what gives it the zoom effect is that it's this thing here. I haven't taken it apart, but what I'm gather is it's like any other PVS7. Because essentially, it looks like this company did was take a bunch of the PVS7 units that they had laying around. Because this company that manufactured these, they make PVS7s as well. And you look at this is just a modified PVS7 housing. You can tell. It's just that you can't put the batteries in like the ones that they make for the analog version of these. You know, it has on the here the oversized knob where you can unscrew it and put the batteries in. So I'm thinking what they did was when they put this optical zoom in, it's like any other digital camera. It's this lens. And it looked like you could have an intermediate lens where that you wouldn't zoom in so far, I mean so close. No, I don't have a four-wheeler. Unfortunately, I normally just walk in the woods. But I probably will buy me one at some point. But these woods here are so thick and dense. I'm kind of wary about just driving a four-wheeler through the woods unless it's some property that I own, just so nothing is in the way, hits you or anything like that. People do weird stuff around here where I'm at, so. But at least now that I see how these come apart, maybe somebody can figure out a different lens that'll be a better fit or how to replace it. Why they didn't just make this where you could just remove the lens and make it compatible with the other PVS 7s, I don't know. My guess is cost because the objective lens for the PVS 7s are probably more expensive. Like this company makes a housing, and I believe if you just bought the kit to build your PVS 7 without the intensifier tubes is around $400. So they probably was trying to keep the cost low. What says, yeah, I'm going to check his out and see if I can just take the objective lens off. There's got to be a way to do that because it's really, it zooms in a lot. It's almost like if you look at it, it's zoomed in almost like right here. And when I'm looking at it, it's got the different ones that you can zoom in on. I'm gonna have to. I don't know if I'm just doing it wrong. Which could be the case. This thing is new and it's not really informed, so that is the reason why I'm doing videos on it. So people that have them, we may be able to figure out how to make them better. It's always annoying when stuff new comes out and then you don't really know how to really get the best performance out of it. And the other issue is, I mean, the quality of the video is excellent, and I'm happy with the image that I get at night. It's just the other stuff. Well, the sensor, I think it's is way more than decent. I've had other different night visions. They're not really night vision, but night cameras essentially. I haven't had any that's as good as this because the funny thing about this one, it does work in almost complete darkness. If you look at my video that I just put up, I want to say earlier this week, it's almost in complete darkness, and I can see pretty good without the backlight on this. Normally, when you're using the camera sensors, you can't see anything. So I don't know what kind of chip set they put in here, what kind of sensor it was, but it's pretty good. I doubt it's a copy of the Sony. Normally, it's just a copy of the Sony ones, And what they just do is they just pop off the IR filter. This thing has some type of imaging software in it because whenever you're looking at it, it's like any other camera. You don't have that herky jerky movement that you normally get with night visions. You don't get that with this. So what I'm thinking is that it's some type of digital software that they got in it that do some more imaging. Because that's the thing I've noticed. Like it's even when you're dealing with analog, you can't usually see analog in complete darkness. You only can see what kind of what you can see with the light you want to have. So that's stars, ambient light from buildings or the moon. And normally when you see the videos from channels displaying night vision, they're taking it at dusk. So you still have some illumination from the atmosphere. Because that's the funny thing about night vision, even with this one. If you just point this at the sky at night, you can see the sky is lit. You can see where all the light is coming from the stars. When I was reading somewhere, it said about a starlight technology. So I don't know. This might be some reverse engineering of some older military equipment. Probably they got their hands on some older digital cameras that the military probably had. I'm not sure. I just know that normally the night vision cameras aren't just good. Now it could be something to do with the lens in here. I don't know. Normally that is the limitations on cameras. It's normally because your lens suck. But I don't know with this one. I mean, it's so far I'm happy with it. Like I said, is it the best thing? No. Could it be better? Yes. But if you got to be able to see in the dark and you don't have 5 grand, I mean, this is pretty much the only thing you're gonna be able to get. I mean, you can build your PVS 7, and there are some PVS 7s with Gen 1 tubes that around, I want to say around 12, 1300. And then they have some PVS 7s that are around 2500, sometimes 1400s. But those are all Chinese clones that I'm talking about. None of those are ex military surplus. Sometimes you can get them from, I think the company's called ATI, and sometimes you can get a good deal if somebody's trying to sell one cheap for $800. But a lot of times, the issue with the analog is that the lens, when you're looking at the lens, when you're looking at it, there's blemishes on your tubes because people have let light hit them and they're slightly damaged them. That's the other issue. If you can't really control your lighting, you don't really want to use analog because you can damage them. Because analog doesn't like bright lights. I mean, you're gonna get some bright lights. I mean, like if we're in the military and you got one of those vampire lights, it's like 150 lumens. I'm pretty sure that sometimes they might have accidentally shined it into the lens or something. So, but Normally, you can just, from what I understand, you can just put it somewhere in a dark room if you don't damage the lens too bad, and you can usually get some of the blemishes off. And it does, like I've had in other videos, it does have these IR filter. That's another thing. If you're at night, make sure, and you got night vision mode, make sure you remove the IR filter, because it looks way better without it. I do wish they would replicate the white phosphorus. I don't understand why they do that. Some of them, you'll see that they have them in green, and then they have the white phosphorus. And then other ones, they don't. They're just black and white. And I know when they have it in black and white, they're trying to replicate the thermal look. But I don't understand. Why can't they just give us one that has all three? The white phosphorus, black and white for thermal, and then the green. And maybe we'll get that in the other model. This is, I guess, this is the first run of them. So maybe they will change it. Because what I would have wished they would have did was, I would have wished there was a way I could have unscrewed this lens here, and if I wanted it. But to get this off, I got to disassemble the unit, which I don't want to do. And if you see some people pouring water on one of these things, trying to do one of those stupid YouTube video, that's dumb. Obviously, anybody can look at it and tell it's not going to be watertight. You're not going to be submerging this and going underwater and diving with this in the ocean. So you see people doing stupid videos like that, and you're not going to be doing it with this. You probably be okay though if you're just outside at night or something and it gets, it's raining and it gets wet a little bit. I'm fine. Just as long as you don't get any water in the bottom of it. Now, if you got it flipped up on your helmet, you may get some water dripped in at the bottom or whatever, but it'll probably be all right though. I doubt it's potted though. If I do take it apart, they'll get my SD card out of. I'll do another video seeing if it's potted or not. Because a lot of times I've noticed with the stuff that I made, but stuff that I've purchased before the electronics that's from China, they don't give you a lot of wiring. So when you're trying to take it apart, it has a lot of these little fine, delicate wires. You got to be really careful because there's not much room really to play around with. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. People, once they start playing around with it, they will see if they like it. It's really the only cool looking one. I don't know though. If you look at the one from COD, the one they built for, I think it was Modern Warfare, I don't know why it's so big with all those stupid LED lights around it. That's unnecessary. Because all that was supposed to be was a PVS 7. I don't know why they couldn't have made one to look like this They make that gigantic bulky one. I just don't understand it. Cause that's unnecessary. I just looked at the time. It's 2:19 for me, which is okay because I don't work in the day, so it's not like I got to get up in the morning and go to work. Fortunately, I work at night, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm supposed to have a mount coming. I ordered it from, I believe the name of the company was Black Wolf Suppliers or something like that. And it's supposed to be the Bennett style for what it looks like because you have to get the other mount if you got one in the Norito or Norit, however it's pronounced, with the Wilcox style dovetail. They do make one that's built in, it just slides in. However, the one I bought the other one, the Bennett one where you gotta stick it in. I don't know why the stream's acting every time. I didn't even say anything bad. I don't know why it does that. I don't think YouTube likes me that much. I'm just talking about night vision. I'm not even saying anything weird or anything. Cause right now it just disconnected. I have to reconnect, and then it kicked everybody. All like on my end, all the people that I'm seeing looking at me live. I lost everybody, and now it's putting them back in. I don't know why it does that. You know, you never get a glitch that gives you more subscribers or anything like that. You know what? We could hope. But I think this unit will be just fine. Um, as long as you're in an open place or whatever, you need to see people. You should be able to do that just fine and spot people. If you were doing airsoft or something like that, or just bumbling around in the woods with it, I think you would be fine. Would I drive with it? No, because this lens is zoomed in too far. If I could figure out, I'm just going to play around with it some more. If I could figure out how to get the zoom not so close, then it'd probably be the it'd probably be better where you could drive out of it or something. I don't know. But looking at it, I'm not sure. So I'm assuming maybe this is 3 times zoomed, and then I go inside of it and hit the what is it called, the button to kind of zoom out more. Maybe that's all I'm gonna have to do it. I'm thinking that it's got to be a way I can make it right. I'm just not knowing how to do it since this is new and it's not really any forums or anybody really have a lot of them. So if you got one and you figure out how to do it, let me know. And I mean, it looks pretty good. I was going to build a PVS 69 and before I forked over, I think you're going to spend around, if you just made a cheap version of that, you're going to pay around $400 to maybe 1,000 to build you a nice pair of PVS 69s. So I said to myself, before I do that, I might as well play around. This thing here was only like $150. So I said, well, I'll play around with it. I'm still gonna buy a PVS 7 housing and build my own. But yeah, I know this thing isn't waterproof, and it's no nitrogen, and there's not nitrogen filled or anything. Because if it was, it would leak out. If I take it apart, I'll see if there's any seals in here. I doubt it. I doubt it's caulking or seals or anything in it like that. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. I gotta finish, get all my setup done. I'm in my office now where I stream sometimes. I just gotta finish getting this place all fixed up. So, but thanks for this sub, because I'm trying to get the 500 and build a channel up from there. So, okay, so do you have a helmet? Yes, I do. Since the only purpose that my helmet that I purchased serve is to hold this unit, I bought a cheap ballistic helmet for like $100, but I'm not using it as a ballistic helmet. I'm using it to hold my night vision because I don't like the way the bump helmets look. I don't like all those holes in it and all that. Because the bump helmets are really meant for you to be off, I think primarily for off-roading and stuff. Or when you're in some of those vehicles, you stop from getting head trauma. I'd ask my son, his guard unit uses those. They don't use the ballistic helmets. They got the bump helmets because they do a lot of what is that stuff they do? They do a lot of like the search and rescue for people and doing hurricanes and storms and stuff. So they're in vehicles a lot. But the bracket I have, and also too, I bought the helmet because it already had a metal bracket, and I bought a Naruto mount, bayonet mount, and the one that I should have bought was the Naruto bayonet mount that had the Wilcox adapter. But since I don't know that much about these, I bought the wrong one. I just bought the regular old bayonet mount, and it's normally for the PVS 14s, and that style doesn't have the mount that I needed. Now you can just purchase, like I said before, you can just get the one that has both. It's one they sell. If you buy the clone, it's about $60. Sometimes you may spend $100 on it, but it has both mounts. But man, these mounts can be expensive, and these helmets can be expensive too. But I'm not worried about the ballistic protection and all that, because where I live at, These guys, they love these stupid AR pistols, which I detest AR pistols. If you're gonna get an AR, get an AR, but don't get a stupid pistol. So if they shoot you in the head, even a real ballistic helmet, that's not gonna stop it. Some of them, somebody told me they do make helmets capable of stopping 5.56, but most of the times the people, the ones that you see them wearing, they're only stop 9 millimeter. So my philosophy is try not to get shot in the first place. But yeah, if any of you guys have any experience or anything about this, let me know. And here's something else I don't know. I don't know why my chat always disappear after my stream. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to take a screenshot of this so I can see these names better. So if you look at this video later, it's not me removing the comments. For whatever reason, YouTube is removing the comments. And even though I'm not selling stuff, it removes my links too. It said that you're not supposed to put links in your live stream selling products, but I'm not selling anything. And I'm not promoting a business. I don't know why they removed my links, but I don't know, man. It sucks. It's just stuff you got to deal with. But it's getting late. I'm about to get out of here unless anybody got any more questions they want to know. I'll go over this one more time, though, just in case some of the people haven't saw the beginning of the stream. I gotta look. Here's a comment. Okay. Yeah, there are. But that's why I'm doing screenshots of it. That way I have the comments. And when I looked on videos on YouTube on why it's removing my comments. Yeah, I'm gonna end it in a minute, but not as long as people are talking. I mean, as long as you're here, I'll keep engaging with you. Oh, yeah, that's funny. You took a screenshot too. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why YouTube does this stuff they do, man. I saw somewhere that Elon Musk was supposed to be partnering with Google in YouTube, so maybe he can work some of his magic on YouTube like he did with Twitter. That'd be funny though. If Trump wins, he might end up as director of the CIA. Wouldn't that be funny? Oh boy. Because Mexican, I see. Remember, I don't have my glasses. Your video explained it well. Thanks for the advice. I'm interested in buying one. I need it when I become a soldier. I guess that's what it says because I can't see. I think they give you some. It depends on what branch you join. My son, they don't use any night vision. They use what do you call those things? They got like those lamps that they put on there, like those military ones. But with his unit, they're not they're not issued because like he's in the Florida State Guard, and they partnered with the National Guard, and they're not using that, so I don't know. They all work together, so I'm not sure what they use. Let me see what your comments. Oh, in my country. Okay, okay. Okay, okay. I see. You're outside the United States. Yeah, man, that's what sucks because they will not export none of this stuff. That's what people don't understand. A lot of the airsoft stuff is really gray market, but then people don't. That's not what we would call gray market. But people don't understand this. A lot of this stuff is designed as military equipment for you because you can't get the US stuff. So that might be the only way you can really get access to it is by buying it yourself. But I know, man, I wouldn't want to be in if you ended up in combat and you don't have any way of seeing in the dark. I wouldn't want to be in combat without night vision. Now, if you're just like in your countries, like depending on some countries, everybody ends up in the armed forces, and you get some units that essentially just do like border patrol, that type of thing, then you're probably fine, or search and rescue, natural disasters. But if you're actually going to see combat, hopefully you're not in one of these countries that are in a conflict right now, like in somewhere in the Middle East or in Europe where they got the war and with Ukraine and Russia. So hopefully you're not in anything like that because that'll be rough. You got to do the best you can though to stay safe. But what I was about to say was, I'll show this. If you do have one and it's on, it's lit, right? I'll show you something you can do to cut the backlight off. So if you want to cut this backlight off, there's this M button, you just hold it. And now it's off. So if you're walking around at night in the dark, you won't be visible because it's not glowing. Now when you cut this on, the back, not the backlight, the night vision mode, when you press it once, that's pretty good in my opinion. I can see fairly well in complete darkness with it. Well, not complete darkness, but you know what I mean? Like if you're at night outside, normally it's it's stars and moon and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, when it is in use, will there be a light? Well, here's the thing. So I will show you. It's some light. This light is way more on video. So if you just looked at this, bear in mind this camera can see IR. So therefore this is lit. You will not see it like this. See, because like this on my hand, you don't see that with the naked eye, but you can see it with the camera because the camera doesn't, it's the IR filter in it. But you do see a little red light, but it's not like a bright flashlight. I'll give you an example. Like on this side here, let's see here, I can show you. So as you can see, this is what the flashlight looks like, which would be the emergency light on it if you need to use it. So no, this light does not look as bright, but because this camera can pick up IR, that's why you're seeing it. But the good thing about this particular unit, most of the time you can see in complete darkness within reason. I say complete, but I've already said I'm talking about a place that has some type of light pollution. You can see it pretty good without needing this. Now, wherever you're going to be at, I don't know how dark and how much you can actually see. A lot of places in the US, there's not a bunch of places that don't have a lot of light pollution. I live in Florida, so it's heavily wooded and forested. So it's a lot of places that have a lot of areas that are really dark. So that's the thing on it. If you had some type of little vampire light, like whenever you're buying this from AliExpress, buy your little vampire light and you put on your helmet, and you should be fine. All right, let me cut her off. I gotta charge her. Or if you have one of those bump helmets or whatever helmet you're gonna use to mount it on, just put your light on that. And that's the case anyway with any night vision. Even if you had analog in complete darkness, it's not going to show up. It's not like in the movies. If you're in a complete dark environment, like indoors with no light, analog is not going to see anything just as well as the digital won't. You're going to need some type of illuminator. No, it doesn't use that much battery power. But the batteries that it takes are I believe 18650 and there's some kind of weird. Just look at the other videos that I did. I showed the batteries that it needs. I did a link if they hadn't removed it. But if you buy this from AliExpress, you can buy the different batteries. Sometimes this particular unit has an issue with powering on because you don't have the right battery. You know that's the case because when you hook it up, I'll show you a little trick. So when you hook it up to this USB port, it will power the unit. So if it powers the unit through the USB, but it won't power through the battery, your issue is that you got the wrong battery. There's nothing wrong with the unit. It's finicky like that. I don't know why it just is. The batteries that I had the success with is, let's see here. Can I get it out of here? It's kind of hard to take this battery out of here. I don't want to do that. Hold on. I got to set this down for a second. Uh, okay. I'm trying to get this battery. It's so tight in here with this battery. There we go. Perfect. Alrighty. So here's a battery that you're going to need. You're going to need one of these guys. It's a 3 volts, 1865. Let's see here. Can I get it where you can zoom in on it? That should be able to get it because I can't see. I don't have my glasses. I just know that's what it is. And I think it's ICR. It's 200 and, no, not 200. 2020 milliamps. It's kind of hard to see that without my glasses. Yeah, that's what it's called. It is on lithium. It is a lithium battery. I've had success with the blue ones. Some of the other ones don't work. These do work. So if you want one like this, you should be good. I'm just telling you so you don't waste your time with the other ones that not going to work. And so you know going in that if it acts funny, it's the battery, it's not the unit. Because it took me a day. I went through like 4 different batteries and I couldn't get any of them to work. And then I had a flashlight laying around and I took the battery out and it worked just fine. So another this unit, with this being a camera, it is not as fragile as regular night vision. Some of the night vision units are really finicky. You put it the wrong way and they break permanently. Well, not. I'll do some more screenshots so I have the comments and stuff. But yeah, if you get those lithium batteries, you should be fine. Just bear in mind that you're not going to be able to get, and this is a Chinese company, but you're not going to be able to get any of this stuff that's on the civilian market outside of the United States, probably. You're going to have to use the Chinese equivalent, and a lot of times people don't understand that. So, like, say for instance, if you want a PEC 15 for your gun, you're gonna have to use like the airsoft clones. But if you got a Somo gear or either the Holy Warrior PEC 15, both of those are full power units. They got AR illuminators, not AR, IR illuminators with a focus. You can focus them versus some of the other ones you have are are more or less a full power laser, but you can't focus them because what would normally be the laser illuminator, which would be like the IR one, is just a flashlight. And Somo Gear does make one like that for like $100. That's fixed focus, but the other one's about $200, so that's nice. And the good thing about something like that, if you buy the one that's like $200, it has the focusable IR illuminator. That's perfect for using something like this because that particular IR laser is completely invisible to the naked eye. You're not going to see any light coming out of it unless you're looking through night vision or a camera. And the mount that you want is going to be, it's called an adapter. I'm not sure which was the exact name of it, but you know it's it because it looks just like this one here, which is this Wilcox, but it has a little bayonet style that plugs into the Naruto one. Yeah, I didn't have that one. The NG, what is it? NG 2030. Yeah, so I still got more stuff to buy. This is my first setup, so I'm just trying to figure out how to get something and stay under 10,000 US dollars. That's another issue I don't like about sometimes the stuff that's, I don't know why it does this, but have you ever had any of these? You bought something like electronic parts, like scopes or something, and you don't use them. You put them, or you try to take care of them, and you know sometimes plastic starts to blow. Connection from YouTube is acting funny again. Night vision is expensive. It's just the nature of the beast. And Some of the big YouTube channels, they make you feel ashamed that you can't fork over $10,000 or $20,000 on night vision. Well, most normal people can't. But just because you don't have the money doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to see reasonably in the dark. Do you need military grade? Probably not unless you're in the military, but it doesn't mean you can't find something or have something where you can see in the dark. But all that stuff is expensive. If you don't use, like if you're buying the stuff that I call gray market, some people call the beige market there. And that's the reason why a lot of times they get around customs and stuff. Because ordinarily, if you were just trying to import this into a country like, say, for instance, in the United States, if you just importing this stuff in, like, say, for instance, the Naruto clones mounts, if they aren't off patent, they wouldn't allow those into the country. But since it's airsoft, they don't care because they consider them to be toys. Even though they're made out of almost the same material, except some of them are made out of aluminum and some of the mounts are made out of titanium. That's why they cost so much. But I'm not diving with it, so I don't need titanium. Steel would just be just fine. Hopefully it won't YouTube won't remove all my comments. But I think I'm gonna cut the stream off because it is my end. It is almost 3 o'clock. But I appreciate everybody that took the time to look at my stream. Hopefully you subscribe to my channel. But I'm about to get out of here and I'll see y'all later. I'll probably stream a little bit later on. Now I guess today, so this is another day, probably later on today I'll be back on. But thanks for watching my stream. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys later.